Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review, and today I'm taking a look at the absolutely awesome real grade shining Gundam from Mobile Fighter G Gundam. First off, all I can say is real grade is most definitely back. After the last couple of rocky releases, this one is insanely perfect out of box. Is it as good as the real grade God Gundam? Well, I guess we're going to find out today. This right here was released on the 28th of June at 3,850 yen, which is about $26 or so. I got mine right here through those awesome people over at Hobby Link Japan. Link will be down there in the description. Now let's get right on into it. So first off, jumping right on into the aesthetics, and what we're going to be taking a look at today is not exactly what this will look like out of box. A couple of things have been done, and if you do want to see what this looks like with no stickers, no panel lining or anything like that, you can just check out the full build video that I did already. Also, if you want to check out the build too, that's in that one. But if you want to see what you'll get without putting any extra effort or stickers onto it, you'll see in that video, and it does look absolutely ridiculously good, even without any sort of effort. What I did right here to get this right here is I just stuck on the included stickers, most of which in the way that it actually tells you inside the manual to do it, and a couple I took a little bit of some liberties with, especially up on the shoulders, where shining Gundam can look a little bit on the kind of plain side. Those big areas of white can look a little bit distracting. So I did pop on a couple of other stickers, which I will mention are actually included. Like that shining Gundam one up there, that is included and not actually in the instructions to use. But I'll wind back to that later. As well as adding on the stickers, I did panel line this as well with the pore type panel liners, these ones right here. The lines fill in themselves, you use the eraser to get rid of them, and they always look very, very nice. There's a little bit of a side-by-side comparison of what this looked like right out of the box, no lines, no stickers, beside what it looks like with the lines and the stickers. It definitely brings out a lot of the detail, especially around the muzzle and some of the legs, and the decals definitely take away from some of the more blander aspects, adding a little bit of pop of alternate color to some areas like reds on the whites and whites on the blues. Overall looking good, but if you do zoom really in on these decals, they do definitely have a little bit of a noticeable edge, and the ones that are kind of the worst are these ones right here, which are a little bit of a circle with a rectangle, and all of these have a big square border around them. These are used absolutely repeatedly all over the kit, so that is a little bit of a letdown. Bandai may actually release water slide decals later, so you can get it looking a little bit cleaner than that. As you can see, bit of a border. Not the worst though, when you're looking at it from a little bit of a distance, and they do stand up too well, posing the kit around the place, which is always good too, if you like to pose a kit a lot, especially one like this that can pose up a storm. So when it comes to the overall aesthetics of the kit, when it comes to the silhouette of this, it does look absolutely outstanding. It does what real grade says it will do, and that is give you a little bit of a real world example of what a certain Gundam would look like, and that definitely goes for this kit right here. Now there it is side by side with the actual line art of Shining Gundam from the anime, but as you know with these line arts, a lot of times the proportions seem to be a little bit out of whack with what you actually see on screen in the show. So what we've got here, even though it may not be as overly crazily proportioned as what we're seeing on the right, it does bring it more in line with what we see with a lot of Bandai's modern designs when it comes to Gundam model kits. Overall though, impressive. When it comes to the actual details on here, this is absolutely phenomenal. Again, kind of jumping back a little bit to the build, the eyes on this are color, well they're not color separated, but they are made out of nice clear green parts, which goes with the camera on the front of the head, not so much on the back of the head. However, if you do want this kit to be fully color accurate, you do have to use the eye stickers because there is no black parts for around the eyes, but overall it does work out quite well. When it comes to the rest of the colors on this, we've got that beautiful real grade two-tone white in gray and pristine white. On top of that, all the colors are very vivid as G Gundam colors should be, and that is that Gundam blue, red, and yellow looking old school and perfect. On top of that, we do have some more clear parts, or should I say one more clear part that you can see right now. That is the shining gem inside the chest, translucent to the actual sticker inside. And we do have some injection gold parts here as well. These don't do anything structural, so don't worry about breaking them. And those are visible in the gauntlets, but we've got them in the sides of the leg too, when it does come to the transformation to super mode. Overall, when it does come to the design of the head here, besides the kind of little bit of a disappointment with the non-color separation of the eyes, this head does look badass and awesome. Now, I don't have the high grade for comparison, but I did see on the Schizophonic blog that he did pop up a picture of the heads of both this and the high grade, and this definitely has more of an intense, powerful glare than what we would have seen on the high grade kit. Next up, when it does come to the stickers included in here, these are mainly just the kind of decals. Actually, they're all decals, there's no color correcting ones besides the eyes. So these look alright overall. Again, borders are quite visible up close. Some of them are fitted two parts like we would have seen back in the day. And I will also mention that there are some stickers in here that are included that the manual does say not to use, like the Shining Gundam I used up on the shoulder, and there are some kanji ones as well saying stuff like undefeated in the East, etc. Those you can pop pretty much wherever you want. They're the as you want to use style. Also, we do have the nice real grade shiny silver stickers in here as well, which pop on little detailed parts, some of which I will mention though are actually covering up nice grey parts that are coming from the inner frame, so that is a little bit, well, good or bad, depends on your own opinion. Also, like I mentioned, there is a transformation to super mode as well, which I'm not going to be doing right now in the aesthetics. I'll do it later on in the review, but there it is, just for you to see right now, and I have to say it is pretty cool. Some of the things that actually happen, especially down at the feet and in the face, are very, very impressive. So now jumping into a size comparison, and there it is side by side with two standard side Gundams, the high grade Orc 78-2 on the left, and the real grade 2.0 on the right hand side. So as you can see, it's about standard height for a Gundam, a little shorter than the real grade Orc 78-2 2.0. There it is side by side with the last two real grade releases, not including the real grade 2.0 we just saw, so that is the Force Impulse Spec 2 on the left, and the real grade Akatsuki on the right. Moving through some more kits now, there's the real grade God Gundam, the mid-season upgrade of the Shining Gundam, the high-grade Gundam Maxter, high-grade Dragon Gundam, the high-grade G-Quax, and finally, the high-grade Red Gundam. So now jumping into the accessories of everything that comes inside of the box of the real grade Shining Gundam, which is predominantly hands, as you can see. Besides the hands, you've got two beam sabers, one a little bit longer, one a little bit shorter, and on top of that we have a massive 9 alternate hands, so that is 11, including the fists we've seen attached throughout the review so far. So when it does come to the included hands in here, we do have the fists we've seen the whole time throughout this review, so that's those ones right here. As for the alternate ones, which aren't unique to this kit, that's these ones right here. We've got some nice various poses here, the widespread palms with the thumb in, the widespread hands with all of the fingers spread out, and some holding hands as well. I'm pretty sure we saw all of these with the God Gundam. Not necessarily sure about the holding hands though, because that kit didn't have anything to hold onto, but those other ones and the fists, we definitely did. And when it does come to the hands that are unique to this kit, we've got the Shining Finger as well as two kind of open, sort of relaxed, clenched hands which are unique to this kit. Overall, all looking fantastic, and they do have some nice aspects to them too, especially the Shining Finger version being in a nice metallic pearlescent green. Most of these hands feature a fairly standard ball joint attachment, but the ones that did come on that B advanced joint runner, those do have a very nice hinge attached down here, so you can actually get these posed into some nice forward-facing palm poses. And as for swapping the hands, it's super simple. They're just ball joints, pop them off, and pop them on again. So next up in here, we've got the beam sabers, which are relatively simple when it comes to the handles. These were just one single piece each cut out. As you can see, one is mildly shorter than the other, and the same does go for the blades. As for attaching them onto the Shining Gundam, they just slide on in just like so, so very simple into the hand. And again, standard ball joint adapter, or should I say ball joint, and just pops on like so. So when it comes to getting this into a pose with the beam sabers, it's absolutely flawless and poses up perfectly. And probably one of the coolest aspects about this kit is one of the greatest revolutions in Gunpla in recent years. That is the hole is under a little slot that opens up like so. So basically, you don't need a base adapter and you don't have an unseemly hole all of the time. It pops onto your standard 3mm peg like so, and it is phenomenal. Posing it up is a dream. So when the beam sabers are not in use, it's the usual thing. You pop the beams off the handles just like so. We do have a dedicated little rack on the left side skirting for attaching these onto. Long one goes on the bottom, short one on top, and that is what they look like stored, which is awesome. Also, what is even more awesome is you can pop this entire rack off with these just like so. Use these with a holding hand and the exclusive to this kit right hand, and you can do this pose here from the intro and from one of the earlier episodes of G Gundam. Now, if that isn't even cool enough, if you pop the beam on, we do have this sticker right here, which is that exact G Gundam piece, or should I say like text for on the beam saber. This just pops on like a usual decal, and that is what it looks like, which is a really cool little addition to this. How this will actually hold up over time, I'm not sure, but it is nice, reflective, and metallic, catches the light nicely, and it's just a cool little nod to that intro. So not necessarily a accessory per se, but it is a little bit separate to the Gundam, and that is the core lander round back. This just pops out just like so. We've got a beautiful clear part. The color separation is phenomenal. You open up the cockpit section just like so. No pilot figure, but it is a cockpit. And speaking of cockpits, the actual Gundam itself does have one too. It pops down just like so. Again, no actual internal of a cockpit per se, no pilot figure, but it is nice to have that opening up like that. Anyway, back to the core lander, we do have a nice hinge that allows this to go flat inside of it, so you got your core lander looking core lander. Around the bottom we've got a little bit of a pivot hinge to the thrusters, so they can point forward and back. The little thrusters, they can actually pivot up and down ever so slightly, and we do have quite a bit of articulation on the actual main thrusters around front. Mainly side to side, but there is a little bit of up and down to those as well. Last up then, of course, we do have the shining finger, but I'm going to save that till the transformation, which I'm going to do, well, after the articulation, which I'm going to do now. So now jumping into the articulation, and so far this is fairly rock solid. This does have the same MS joint forearms as we saw on the God Gundam, which did loosen up a bit over time. I'm not feeling anything so far, so maybe they might have reinforced them. The forearms do look a little different, of course, so I'm not sure just yet. We'll put it through the ringer and find out, but otherwise it is very, very solid. If you grab by, no, even if you grab by the legs, it's not really going to flop. It's a solid kit. Usual pose time. So getting this into the usual pose, and man, it's not just its hand that glows with an awesome power, it's every joint and part of this kit entirely. Consider this pose absolutely defeated. It just falls into the pose perfectly. There's articulation everywhere in the toes, ankles, knees, all over the waist unit, tons of it in the torso and arms. The neck has multiple joints. It just falls into every pose perfectly, just like we would have seen with the absolutely fantastic God Gundam. I'm not having any issues with the arms so far. We'll be transforming it soon, so we'll see what goes on then. But overall, fantastic, natural. It's almost humanoid and biological in the way that it does pose, so you can eke out the most over-the-top, dynamic, cool poses out of this. So impressive. So now jumping into all of the articulation, and this is such a complex kit, so you're going to have to forgive me that I'm going to be doing whole areas instead of individual joints. For example, I'm not going to do every single thing the ab crunch does, more so what you can expect to get out of it. So starting off with the neck, this is multi-jointed, so it can look all the way up like that, then all the way down. So the overall back, forward is insane. Not to, well, forget that there is a transformation here I will mention. The face opens up. Those panels come out. We also have very nice side to side as well. The shoulders are attached in via a joint which moves forward to back like so, as well as a ball joint. I will mention at this point, there is massive compatibility between this and the God Gundam. Even though only some of the joints are actually reused from kit to kit, everything is designed the same. So you can actually attach the hips onto the waist joint, so the legs can go onto the waist can attach onto the torso can attach onto the arms, so basically everything can be switched around except the head. The ball joint is a little bit smaller, I think, on this kit than it is on the God Gundam. That's the only thing that's not swappable between the two, so the head and the torso are kind of stuck together. Well, they're not stuck together, but you can't really use them on either or kit. So if you are going to mix and match some parts, the head cannot be changed, but everything else can be, which is awesome. Anyway, as for the arm, we've got the full rotation there, as well as that nice little bit of pivot from the ball joint. The shoulder moves independently to the arm. There is transformation there we will take a look at in a bit. There is the arm all the way up, incredible as you would expect it to be. We've got the full bicep swivel up top, which is a little bit awkward to get at because we do have a forearm swivel as well, so it kind of decides which is going to go for itself sometimes. You're going to have to grab it up there to get that out of it. When it comes to the bend at the elbow, it's double jointed and absolutely perfect. We do have some movement inside of this. Again, transformation we'll take a look at in a second. And just ball joints on the wrists unless you're using the advanced joint wrist hand that's kind of shaped like this. Next up then, when it does come to the ab crunch, there it is all the way to the front and massive to the back with even more out to the front when you do get that. Of course, you can see into the waist a little bit from the front, but if you're doing this pose, more than likely that's not the angle you're going to be going for. So as you can see, absolutely crazy, and the side to side is very nice as well, but a little bit more difficult to get to. Lastly then, we do have rotation, and that goes all the way around on a peg. Around in the backpack, these little guys can move wherever you want them to, outwards as well as up and down. We've got a thruster that moves, and these pivot ever so slightly. The whole backpack can also rock ever so slightly on the actual cockpit stuck into the back. Waist unit is fantastic again, nice ball joints on the front skirting so they can move up and out. The side skirtings are attached into the back. We do have ball joints to move them up and down, as well as a pivot to get them out of the way entirely. And while it's out of the way, you can get the full splits, no bother, out of this kit too. Around on the butt flap, this moves up and down, which is nice. As you can see, these side skirtings move with it. Everything's good and solid. We do have sliding hips, which move up and back and down and forward, which is also nice too. Just a peg in there then, so on top of that, you do get kicks all the way up to the front, like that right there, and all the way out to the back. Again, absolutely fluid and fantastic. When it comes to the knee bend, it bends just like so, bringing up a nice little moving section inside of that. That is so nice. Again, fluid, perfect and strong. Down at the ankles, there is a whole lot going on. That little grey section in there moves independently to the white, which is nice. There is some transformation in the foot, which I'm holding on to till the transformation section, but we do have a nice toe bend all the way up there, and does pivot down for some nice in the air poses. So overall, this is absolutely phenomenal, and pretty much just like what we would have seen from the God Gundam, because it's based pretty much along the same sort of structure, internal parts, and a lot of the joints besides the neck are fully compatible with that kit, which is awesome. So finally now we've got the transformation to super mode. Now I've put the standard version on the left, the super mode on the right, so as you can see there is quite a little bit of difference between the two. Subtle but very effective, especially transformation wise up in the head, the shoulders and down at the feet. As for transforming to super mode, it is super simple. The shoulders just slide up just like so. It's easy to do. However, it is easy to undo as well when you're handling it, so sometimes you might end up closing them by accident while getting it into a pose. The face opens by opening the front two panels. Simple. Not as fragile as you think it may be, even though you would assume it to be. The head flaps all open up like so. We've got thruster sections that open on the sides of the legs. We've got gauntlets which pull out and forward like this, and finally then the ankle armors pull down towards the back like so, and lastly we do have an extension to the feet which really does change the shape of the feet entirely. Once again, there's the side by side of what they look like before and after the transformation. It works well and it looks great too. Finally, what we've got in here then is the right hand for doing the absolutely iconic shining finger. All you do is pop that on like any other hand, get it into a position while in this awesome looking super mode, and this right here is what you get. There's nothing quite as awesome as the Shining Gundam pulling off the shining finger. Again, super easy to pose up, but it is easy to kind of close the shoulders and the sides of the legs while posing it, so beware of that when you are getting your final pose. So anyway, that right there is it for the review, and the real great Shining Gundam is X Platinum tier, which is pretty much as good as Gunpla has gotten to this date. Overall, it is absolutely phenomenal, but when it comes to the breakdown, aesthetically this is pretty much perfect. As you can see, it's just 1 point off of Gundarium tier aesthetics, and the only real reasons for that is it doesn't have fully color separated eyes, again not a huge deal, and the injection gold never really looks that incredible. Again, not a big deal. If either of these things don't matter to you at all, this is essentially perfect. 2 shades of real grade white, the overall silhouette proportions and everything are phenomenal, the design is great, and overall this is Shining Gundam like we have never seen it before. It is astounding. It gets the full 5 points. That is Gundarium tier articulation in this kit right here. This can pose up a storm. I'm pretty sure it's identical to what we've seen with the God Gundam. The compatibility with the God Gundam 2 is a ridiculously awesome aspect. This is a fantastically posable kit, and about as posable as Gunpla gets. This is the pinnacle of Gundam posability. As you can see, we just got average 3 there for the accessories. The accessories in this kit aren't really over the top. Maybe we might see an expansion kit coming up sometime in the future, like we would have seen with the God Gundam, maybe some of the effect parts we would have seen with the high grade, which I will mention are compatible with this particular kit, by the way. I don't have them handy, but they are. So maybe we will see more down the line, but in this kit it's just 2 beam sabers and a bunch of hands. Lastly then, when it does come to the build, this is rock solid, built out of box, phenomenal, and when it comes to the actual building of it, it is fantastic. It's got a full inner frame, it builds up so perfectly, there's such insane engineering going into all of this, and for the most part it is mini master grade all the way through, except for the forearms, which once again are the advanced joint, but they're not giving me any issues in this particular kit at all. So as far as things goes, it's beautiful, it's insanely posable, the build is fantastic, but there's not much in the box when it comes to the accessories. Overall, platinum tier, fantastic, about as good as real grade gets right now, and highly recommended from me. As always, this wouldn't have been possible without those awesome people over at HobbyLink Japan, so there is a link down there in the description. As always, make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews, and I will see you next time. As always, all these videos on here would not be possible without each and every one of you guys watching these videos, so thank you so much. And special thanks to those of you who are helping out over on the Patreon, as well as on the channel members, including Abraxas, Caleb Engelhart, Joe or G, 59061, Scotty Thomas, Simon, and Van Fawn.